Oistes. V'zeu vayikach Haman es halavush v'es asus chulu. And this is what it says, that Haman took the levush of the sus. He wants to say, Haman, as we know, was arrogant, because Haman said, "Lemi yachpitz hamelech," who does the king want to give honor more than me? So he was arrogant. But here we talked about that the arrogance of kedusha is actually necessary. You can't start the davening, and you can't really. You need to be a metzias to say, "I want to be connected to Hashem. I don't want to be separated." You need that. You need that I over there, because without that I, you're not bittul b'metzias. You don't start with bittul b'metzias. You don't start. So therefore, that is actually a positive. But Haman, who was the level of arrogance, he wanted to schlep down the arrogance to Klippus. And Abishai said, no, take the levush and sus and give it to Mordechai to make it the arrogance of Kedusha. We'll see. Pirush. Haman takes the levush and sus. Haman is arrogance, which means he's nasus. Specifically through Haman, nimshach bechinas levush malchus asher lovash behamelech. That's how we bring down the garment of malchus and the that the king dresses up in. V'sus asher rochel v'hamelech chulu. How do we get it down? You get it down through the level of Haman, because as we said before, to direct, to make God, to be able to reach into the level in which you are rejecting the klippa, needs to also have God through the Sarusa Tata. The Hine, it sounds very strange to say that Haman is like a positive. We know Haman is a Rasha. But it says, our sages tell us same idea. Haman min ha-Torah minayin. Where do we have Haman in the Torah? And the Gemara says, the Ksiv Hamin ha'etz. The Pasuk says, Hamin ha'etz. The word Hamin is the same letters as Haman. So you see Haman there. What does it mean, Haman in the Torah? Because there is a positive of Haman, the positive of Haman. Pirush. Al derech hanal b'inyan ma'amarazal. This is similar to what we said before in the saying of our sages of best memory. The Talmud Chacham b'shmini sheb'shminis. A Talmud Chacham has to have an eighth of an eighth, which is a 64th of arrogance. Why the ma'ater leikisos n'shebal t'chulu? That it adorns him, it crowns him like the sauce of the Shabbat. So, what did we explain over there? Because through the arousal of below, in the level of thickness of Kedusha, the gases, in staying away from bad and doing good, as mentioned before, so this brings about this Rusa de Latata, brings this Rusa de Leila, that it should be Geyus Ha'elyon, that there should be the sort of the haughtiness of the Supreme to reject the Geusa. Liyesh ki goy gochu. Shaloi litain shefa lechitzonim, not to give any flow to the outers. Zehu, this is vayikach Haman. That's why it's Haman. Haman represents the gasus below. So he took es levush hamelech v'sus sherochel v'olav. So he took the garment rochel v'olav. Shehu beis pamim gas. The word the sus that we say, the sus is 66, 2 times the Yizgei al Geib. The sus sherochav alav. There we learned before susecho. There's 2 susim, And we said that the soos being 66. Six, oh no, 120, you're good, yeah. So sus, the word sus is 2 times gas, because 63 and 126 is 63. 2 times 6 goes 1. Is gay al gay. We learned the whole time before. Okay, so what happened? The problem was that Haman wanted to bring himself the sus. Here we're saying that the whole idea is that when you have the level of gayus, you're not mashpia in the klippas. Then you're only mashpia in the kedusha, because that causes gay al gayusa through the level of the shemaina shebishminis of the person. But Haman wanted to actually bring it down to himself. Haman the klippa. What did he want? He wanted that the garment should be to him. When he says, who does the king want to give more honor me? He meant for himself. This is through the chutzpah and the brazency and the grub kind of klippa. Like we say with regards to Avedis Chomazol, the going in takbia kanesher, if you raise yourself like a eagle, which means that's the level of brazency in which they raise themselves to a level of reaching out to the higher level. And through this chutzpah brazency from below, isarusa de leila, that's what he intended. There should be this rusa leila gave Salya nimshach lahaman de klippa. They wanted this to be extended to Haman of Klippa. But the king says, no, you're not getting it. We have to turn it to Haman the Klippa. Haman the Klippa has to turn around, become Kedusha. Then it became the level of Haman in the godly holiness. That becomes the 8th of the 8th. The arrogance of spirit with Talmid Chacham, the Ma'atir Lake is that decorates him, surrounds him like the shad around the kernel of the wheat, as we said before. So that's why I say just now, why do you need Haman in the Torah? Why are we asking? Where is Haman in the Torah? But there's a level of Haman in Kedusha. Pirush B'chinas Haman the Kedusha Minai. Shenemar Haminaites. So basically, this is what we were looking for, is the level of Kedusha of Haman. Zehu Shetziva HaMelech LaHaman Kachas Halavush Vasus. The king, meaning the Eibishter, says to basically the Haman that you have to take the levush and the sus, because the way to get to the levush and the sus to really get the madregas is through the level of Haman. Because it hinges on him. Because through the arousal blow in the gasus of Kedusha, Kach nimshach hasarusa d'leila liyis ki goy go. V'kach osa, and so he did. Vayikach chomen salavush chulu v'day lemei. Because the movement maimer hazoyar. So with all this, we can understand the saying in the Zohar. The card is kafya sitra achra. That when the sitra achra is subdued, when you suppress the Sitra Achra is Talik Ikora the Kutsha Brichu Le'ela. So then the glory of the Kutsha Brichu goes up above. What does it mean? Iskafi Sitra Achra, he says when you turn around and you take that Gasus Ruach from Haman and you utilize it for the Gasus Ruach of Kedusha, that's the way you suppress Sitra Achra. So then you bring down the glory of Hashem to the highest of levels, which also becomes Kigo and suppresses all the Hamshacha to the, and there's no Hamshacha to the Chitzayne. Pirish. Aidei Shaloichin Habir, Min Gasus the Klippa. Liyis Mizeh Gasus the Kedusha Chulu, by taking and the sorting out from the Gasus of Klippa to make it Gasus the Kedusha. That's the way that you suppress the Sitra Achra because of the gaze of Kedusha. As it's said about the future to come, the pasuk says, so that means that they're going to come because the gaze to Kedusha, they're going to come to Baris Surim. They're going to hide because of this going to be that overpowering level of Kedusha. So this brings higher the level of the glory of Kudsha B'richa. Pirush is talik, when it say goes higher up, that he is elevated in the exaltness and the raising by himself. He doesn't want to give one is not fit. He says, no, myself. This becomes the level of his takal, the Sarusa Leila from the Sarusa Tato. That's what we say above. Why is it going up above? Because from the perspective, the fact that the light and the goodness comes down below, so then the light would expand no limit, it would go everywhere, even to the chitzonim, even to the clippers. But because it goes up above, then this great flow comes very particular. What was all this? What caused to bring about the Kodesh Kucha Bricha during the Golus Mechashvedesh? Oyorak al Yidei Shahoyu Klolus Yisrael B'Bchinas Mesiris Nefesh Shalamayim Hatavadas Lagamri Canal. It's only through the fact that the Jewish people in general were at the level of Mesiris Nefesh beyond any reason and any rationalization. Totally said before. This brought about the returning light. That was this Rusa de Latata. Brought about the returning light. Rusa Leila Lamaila. What did it do? Le'oirer atzmus oirin sov haposhut shalamayla mukolam mishtabsos, to arouse the infinite light of the Insof, simple, which is higher than all shtabsos. And this was such a level. Shafilu b'shas matan Torah lo hoy magiyas rusul l'sham. Even during matan Torah, they couldn't reach that level. Because we say by the Megillah, it says by Purim that they sustained and they accept that what they begun, which means that it was only the beginning by Matan Torah. Matan Torah over there they just started. So you see that the level at the time of Achashverosh they completed. So you see that it was even a greater level. Ba'atam. Who? And what's the reason that they were able to reach in a higher level? Is Esther Hagam Shahoyo in a level of that it was a level of Hester upon him. It says Astir. But still, notwithstanding that it was a level of Hester upon him, this has a greater advantage even than the shining face that takes place in Matan Torah. Because it's through this Hester upon him, that's how it goes up into the highest level. And it comes the light from a place and a step which is very high. The times that I said before that for that reason there is actually an advantage on Purim that doesn't exist on Yom HaKippurim. That's like it. And that's why we say that days of Purim are eternal, they'll never pass. Because this Hester Ponim, the blocking that comes through the level of Mesiras Mata, is Gedoili Gam B'chinas Oros Ponim. It's greater. It's never going to be bottled. It's greater than the shining face. The Lochein, Wolosow Niskar Shem Havaye B'chol Megilas Esther. There's no name of Hashem in the old Megilas Esther. Elo HaMelech Stam. It just says the king, because the king without the name means a higher level, means the Atzmus is not even the name of Avaya. Shemeir or Merame is the fact that it says just Amelech that points and that hints Abchinas Atzmus Ein Sof HaPoshut Muvshat B'Kol Shem, of the simplicity of the essence of the Ein Sof that is undefined from any name. There's no name at all. K'maimer you fill all their names. It's called just plain the king Beloshin Stimus in a closed way, Mishum She'ena Yedeya Mihu, because we don't know who it is, because there's no name to it. B'chinas Esther, Shu'inyan Hester Haponim, Harihu Gamkein B'chinas Ohr Hosofos Hazeh. It also comes from that level of Sosum, because this highest level is connected to the level of Hester upon him. This hidden light. There's also that string of chesed, but he has to that she was sort of not so good looking. She was irakrakas, greenish. But she had the chut shel chesed, mashallah. Basically, it means that even though it's a level of Hester, but there is still some level of chesed. Okay, let's.